Good evening. It is Tuesday, May 20th, 2025, and coming to you from Lonely Tree Media headquarters in Tacoma, Washington. This is the Best Lamb Sports Show. I'm your host, David Lamb. With me is my son, Parker. Say hello, Parker.
Hello, Parker.
Yep, they're good. They're doing. That's a pretty good applause. They're fired up. I like that.
Yeah, they're doing their job.
I like that in an audience. Fired up. So, welcome to the show. We got lots of things to talk about, even though we're getting to that slow time of the year. I want to hear first from you. You told me before we went on that you have podcasting shoes, or specific podcasting shoes. What is up with that?
So I normally wear Vans all day. That's my go-to shoe unless I'm like specifically going for a walk or a run. But the problem with Vans is that they have a hard 90-degree edge all around the shoe. So as you're stepping around, because I do the podcast standing. So as I'm like stepping around, you'll hear them. You'll hear them like slightly clicking. So I have a pair of Nike, I think they're Infinity Runs. They're like slip-ons, but they have very rounded edges and they're very soft. So you don't hear anything when I'm stepping around. That's
Okay.
it. I told you it's gonna make a lot more sense than it seems like it was going to.
All right. I thought maybe this was a specific thing we're going to see, in the future. Nike podcasting shoes.
Negative. No, that's
I
not.
mean-
Then nobody makes one. Although the idea of making a quiet studio shoe,
It's not a bad idea.
it's not the craziest thing. But you could also just buy like any
I-
like you
I
have
mean, I
those
have
free
Crocs.
runs where. Well, Crocs aren't bad. The only problem with Crocs is you might get some weird rubbery sounds out of
Squeakiness,
them.
yeah.
Yeah, but like you have those Infinity Run shoes where the outsole is the same material as the midsole, so
Yeah.
it makes them super quiet to walk around in.
I have some super quiet shoes,
So
yeah.
yeah, so
All right.
that's my whole logic behind it. But I couldn't find them because I had last time we did the podcast, I walked into another room with them and took them off, and I didn't realize I left them in there.
You didn't put them back where they're supposed to be.
I didn't
This
put
is
them
the bottom
where
line.
they're supposed to go.
All right. That's fair.
Mm.
So we got a lot to talk about. Like I said, we're going to start with Formula One. Formula One was in Imola in Italy, and for maybe the last time, at least for the foreseeable future, they do not have a contract moving forward. And the race was interesting. I don't want to say it was great, but it was interesting. And here's just a clip. So Max Verstappen, who's on the front row with Oscar Piastri, made a bold move and probably one of the best moves, like we were talking about earlier, one of the best fair moves, legal
Yes.
moves that I've seen from him in a while. Because normally he just pushes you off the track. But this was a slip. He slipped right alongside him and on the inside corner took the lead right on his turn 2, I guess. In the first lap. And then he led the rest of the way. Now, it took some things to let him lead the rest of the way. It took some pit stop issues, a couple of yellow flags, one safety car, one virtual safety car, that benefited him greatly. And as we talked about before, he's probably the master of rolling restarts. Only because we've seen him do it so many times and nobody else seems to ever get that. But your impression of the race in Italy and Imola, in terms of competitiveness, and did you enjoy watching it?
Yeah, I like watching most races. It wasn't the most exciting one, unless if you were a fan of like 3, 4, 5, 6, it was a pretty jazzy race. but
Yeah.
if you were rooting for 1 or 2 for the most part, it wasn't that exciting. It was just Max Verstappen doing his job for 60 laps or whatever it was, 58, if it was something
63.
like that. 63. I thought it was
63
65.
Imola. 2 pit stops. Yeah. Well, Max
Yeah, it
Max
wasn't
wins by
bad.
no, Max wins by 6 seconds over Lando, who finished second, and 18, well, it's 19 seconds over Oscar Piastri, who was finished third.
Yeah.
He had a pretty large gap. And that all honestly, that's from that actual safety car. He built that lead from that safety car because it gives everybody a chance to bunch up. But like we said, he has this ability to slow the field down and then speed up around a corner, and in less than a lap he was 2 seconds ahead of Norris.
Right.
Yeah, and then it was over. Um, McLaren made a couple
But
mistakes.
this is one of those courses where it's like high downforce, and the Red Bulls have been notoriously great at carrying speed through corners.
And it is
So
it is a high speed course, yeah. So
so not only is it high speed, but they also don't lose much as they're zipping through the few corners that are on this track. So
mhm.
so I don't know. I thought Max did a good job. Like you said, it was a fair move. It was still I still think it was a because you look like when he took the inside, he came all the way across the entire track to the farthest side. You could say he's setting himself up for later, but that's just to shut the door on Piastri.
Yeah.
So he still did the whole I'm going to force you to you're either going to crash into me, I'm going to crash into you, or you're going to back off. One of those things is going to happen. But I didn't think this was as pig-headed as like the dive bombs that he likes to do.
Right. Wasn't
So
as
it made more
egregious.
sense. Yeah, it didn't feel. It was like, oh, that was good. That took some balls. Whereas on other ones, you go, okay, you're just being a little reckless and hoping that you get away with it.
Right. Yeah,
So
it looked like he just shot alongside him and just made him, he was it made Piastri look like he was standing still, the way he just fired right on by him. And you were saying earlier you think maybe Piastri's a little gun shy, that maybe he's just afraid of getting into an accident, playing it safe. And you could be right. I don't
yeah,
know. I don't have a whole lot of proof. But I don't
it's so funny. Somebody was like, yeah, Max Verstappen doesn't intentionally try and cause accidents. Blah 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 blah. I'm like, yeah, because he's been at the front for 4 years.
Mm,
It's hard to get into an accident with no one. I was
it's
like,
true.
but when he was having to work through the field, he was constantly in accidents.
Yeah, that's true.
And even last year, he was in accidents 2 different times when he was working through the field. Piastri's, I don't know. He said in the post race thing that he braked way too early, which corresponds with George Russell screaming at him, "What are you doing?"
Right.
Because George Russell almost rear-ended him.
Right.
Which I mean, for a moment there, this race was Oscar, Russell, Max.
Yeah.
It wasn't Max wasn't in second, but Max shot past both of them going into that corner. So I just think that Oscar doesn't care to get into accidents, and he'll push the car all the way to the edge, but he's not going to put his life or other people's lives in jeopardy necessarily.
Well, I don't think there are many drivers out there in currently that I would go, okay, he's willing to put himself and his car in harm's way to make a pass. There aren't
Max.
Max, yeah, Max.
It's pretty much just Max. Lance does it on accident.
Yeah, Lance Stroll has
You can't help it.
all of the rookies. If you want to get in the back there and talk about all the rookies,
But there's they all do it not on purpose.
not on
though,
purpose.
most of
They
the
just
time,
it
it's
just
usually
happens.
just a miscalculation. Yeah, Max
Yeah.
Verstappen will force you to hurt him or not.
Right, yeah, he does. He does. He
He
puts you in a position where you go, okay, is it worth it? Do I want to do that on lap 1?
And if he
Right?
lurches the car far enough ahead, now he's got the corner.
Right.
And if you hit him while he's forcing your hand, you get the penalty.
True.
And that's the thing. They're 50-50 with those, first lap corner penalties all the time. They cannot make up their mind who they really think is at fault in most of those. And they never penalize appropriately because of it.
Well, they're probably the best drivers in the world, just in general, because of the amount of reflex and reaction and the way they can manage a track, at whatever speed. And when you throw in a guy who's puts you in awkward positions, it still amazes me that there aren't more accidents.
Yeah.
That someone just doesn't crash into him. And that used to
True.
happen. That him and Lewis crashed regularly, right? I mean,
For 2 years, I think they had 8 accidents with each
and
other.
still we're 1 and 2.
And we're still 1 and 2. I think that comes down to Max would turn in on Lewis, and Lewis would say, "I'm not going anywhere,
Right.
so you're gonna have to hit me." Max would hit him in a not great way, and it would
Yeah.
hurt Max more often than it would hurt Lewis.
Right. I think that,
But
yeah, it's interesting to watch those two. Just, I mean, how many accidents can you guys get in and still be first and second?
still be well. I mean, the whole rest of the field sucked.
It's true. You're not
Well,
wrong.
they didn't suck. I don't want to say that because you had Sergio Perez and you had Valtteri Bottas, who were still doing pretty well. They were always 3, 4, 5, somewhere in that
Yeah.
range. But you know
But-
what? I was thinking about this though. I watched the movie Rush. Have you seen that with
I have not
Chris
seen the movie
Chris
Rush.
Hemsworth?
Yeah.
It's about Niki Lauda and James Hunt's 1976 feud.
Mhm.
The 1 or 2 years they were doing that. But when they're voting on the race that Niki Lauda crashes at and where he gets all his burns and stuff like that,
Yeah.
they had a racers meeting beforehand. And I'm sure it's dramatized for TV, but he says every time I go out there, he's like, I understand there is a 20% chance that I might not make it back or I might get seriously hurt. And I'm okay with that, but not 1% more. And I think that's Oscar Piastri's way of driving, where he's like, I'm okay with shenanigans and chaos, but I am not going to do that extra thing that's going to hurt me or someone else.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
That's fair.
And he still leads the constructors
Agreed.
or the drivers.
It's interesting. Yeah, in the drivers' championship, if you look at the standings, Piastri still in first at 146 points, Norris with 133, and Verstappen with 124. Outside of that, I know there's guys there. I mean, with 99 points, I think Russell's the next. He has a chance.
A master of consistency, George Russell.
I'm telling you, George Russell, and I've said this. I don't know if I said that on the show. He's vanilla. George Russell is the vanilla of this race. Of
he was
F1.
a spice, he'd be flour.
If he he doesn't do anything exciting. He's there, and he's always there, right?
Always there.
He's always an option. But I would like to see more out of him. You know who driver of the day was for me in this race, and that was Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton was pretty good to finish fourth. I was kind of hoping he'd get an actual podium out of this, right? But he was right there. Alex Albon, you could have voted for him, and I would have been okay. But
Albon
they
had
finished
a pretty good race. Yeah.
They finished 4-5. Lewis Hamilton and the Ferrari team needed something. They finished fourth and sixth, which was good. The Mercedes team finished much lower than they had been, and that's Russell at seventh, and then Kimi Antonelli, who didn't finish. Yeah, was 19th, right? After 19 laps, he pulled over to the side, and something was wrong. That happened a couple of times. He was the first. He was the virtual safety car, I think. Antonelli was. Anyway, it's interesting, and it's interesting to watch now that if you look at the Constructors Series, McLaren has a 132-point lead over Mercedes after, 7 races, which is crazy. Red Bull has 131 points, but 124 of them are Max Verstappen. And the other 7, I don't think it's all Yuki Tsunoda. I think some of that was someone else. Was Liam Lawson, or I don't know. I don't think Lawson has any. I don't know. What I know is Max Verstappen, if Red Bull's going to win anything, it'd have to be all Max Verstappen. He'd have to win every race from here on out. And I still don't think that'd be enough.
No. Not even. I mean,
not with 2 good racers.
He's carrying the team in the constructors, keeping them in third. What's their constructors standing? Let me see here.
So
they are 131.
Yeah, they're third.
131. And Max Verstappen himself has
124.
124 of the 131.
Yeah.
They've gotten 7 points in 5 races from 2 other drivers.
I think that's all Yuki, actually. He has 7 points, I think, so.
But still, 7 points in 5 races from 2
Yeah.
other drivers.
I mean, you got to have a second driver.
Any help.
Right. You got to have a second
at
driver.
this rate, we're going to go, another, I think there's 20 more races or something like that left. I mean, Max Verstappen's going to have 400 points in the constructor.
18 races. That's what's left.
18
Anyway,
races.
yeah, 18 races.
There you go.
And I like Kimi Antonelli. I think he's a good driver. I think he lucked into a good spot. The Mercedes seat is a good seat. That's part of being a rookie. If you can get into a good seat, a good team. But Red Bull's had a seat open, and none of those guys seem to be able to do anything. You can't tell me it's a bad seat.
I really do wonder how much of Red Bull's issues are people don't want to drive with Max.
Hmm.
Like, there is no one who gets to come to Red Bull and be a chance at the number one driver. Max
It's
will get
true.
everything. Max will get all the attention, all the love, all the
Well,
praise. In any scenario that involves the two of you, you're the bad guy and he's the good guy, at least in their eyes. So what good driver wants to go deal with that? Like
to
Carlos Sainz is a great example. I thought Carlos Sainz was going to go to Red Bull this offseason. And he ended up going to Williams instead, which is a
and
far worse team.
they
And
yeah,
he's doing fine with
he's
them,
been
but
good. They've been pretty good.
yeah,
Yeah,
Williams is much, much, much better
much
this year.
improved. I so
But
I
still,
I think the Mercedes seat is the same way because Lewis. Did you want to be number 2 behind Lewis Hamilton? You weren't going to get anything with Lewis Hamilton as number 1, right? But Russell did it. He became the number 2. Valtteri Bottas was the best number 2 driver I've seen, just in general.
well, but I'm not talking about like being a new driver and taking, and this is your chance. Russell first, well, he was at Williams before,
Yep,
and Williams was a flaming pile of crap at the time.
I
So
think they were.
I wouldn't want to stay there either. It wouldn't
But
matter who offered me a seat. So he agreed to go there, but he wasn't a name yet, right?
no,
Like Red Bull's never going to get a decent name in that second seat
well,
with Max being their main driver.
my
But like
point is,
Ferrari did. Ferrari managed to get Lewis in a second, but that's because it's Ferrari.
it's
So.
Lewis too. Yeah.
Yeah.
My point is, I guess that George Russell became the number 2 at Mercedes with Lewis Hamilton as number 1, knowing
Right.
he wasn't going to become number 1 anytime
Until
soon.
Lewis left.
Right, and I still don't know if he is, but Mercedes, that was a great spot, and George Russell was not new, but relatively new. He'd been racing for Williams for a little bit, but he hasn't been in F1 for forever. So he kind of lucked into a spot. That's kind of like Kimi Antonelli, lucked into a great spot. You get a great team, and you have the right car. That has a lot to do with it. You know, if you're Isaac Hajar, if you're Liam Lawson was given a chance, but I don't think he was ready to be the number 2 in
Right.
Red Bull. Bortoletto, Behrman, Colapinto, those guys, they are. I think Ollie Behrman would be better if he wasn't on Haas. I think he has the opportunity to be a good driver, but Haas is one of those teams, where
It's a train wreck. Yeah.
yeah. But Bortoletto and Colapinto are just, it's funny because Colapinto was, when they said he was going to be racing for Alpine, I said, well, there's an accident waiting to happen. And then in qualifying, what did he do? Smash. And I was like, okay, so he every time I've watched him race, he's either crashed in the race or in qualifying.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, why would you put him in your starting lineup? There clearly is a shortage of F1 drivers. So
Yeah.
you should probably start training.
But George Russell, another thing about George Russell, he was a test driver and
Yeah.
a reserve driver for Mercedes in 2017 and 2018. So he was with Mercedes before he ever went to Williams. And Williams is a Mercedes engine powered team. So it just made sense that he came back. And he was only with Williams for 2 years.
2 years, probably. That sounds about right.
Yeah, he was only with him for 2 years. He was the 2019 season. He did 21 races. In the 2020 season, he did 16 races. Oh, 3 years, sorry. And then 2021, he did 22 races. And then he came back to Mercedes. But, like, he knows the team. Also, is that like a hedge? Like, hey, I got to play second fiddle to Lewis Hamilton, but he's going to retire at some point. If I can keep my head above water, if I can keep swimming and keep impressing people, I'll get to take over the mantle.
Yeah, and maybe. I mean,
And that it could have been, and it worked. I mean, he did.
this coming weekend for Memorial Day weekend, the Monaco Grand Prix is Sunday, May 25th. And if I have my notes here right, it starts at 6 a.m. on ABC, which not many foreign races are broadcast on ABC. It's usually just the American ones and the
Yeah,
Mexico
but
one.
what else is going on at 6 a.m.?
Well, that's true, but usually ABC's got, the world this week or whatever it is, some kind of news show. But anyway,
It's an infomercial.
since Monaco is such a big deal, that's probably why that it's on. But it's 6 a.m. on ABC on Sunday if you want to watch the Monaco GP. Saturday will be the qualifying. Really, and in my professional opinion, Saturday watch the qualifying. The rate the
Probably
race
enough.
the race will not be different than the qualifying unless somebody has a really bad accident. Um, but it's not. It seems like during the race, there's not as many accidents. During qualifying, those guys are trying to push. They have issues, and so it's exciting. But the Monaco circuit does not lend itself to passing. There is one DRS zone and not much else. So
Well, have you heard about the new pit rules for this year?
what new pit rules?
So for Monaco specifically, you are required to pit at least twice, and you're required to use two types of tires.
Well,
So you can
you've always been required to use two types of tires.
right, but now that they're enforcing pits, people were like, "Oh, well, do I still have to?"
Oh, right.
Like like that's what I mean. So you're still required to do the same thing, even though you have to
Why?
pit again
Why is there two pit stops? But what's the reasoning behind that?
to increase competitiveness, to
Oh
get
my
chances
gosh.
to jumble. See, but this feels like
It is
forced jumbling things up. Yeah,
forced competitiveness.
yeah.
Either
But
yeah,
it might work.
I agreed, and I know it's all about TV revenue, right? And people want to watch the race and want it to be a race that they can get behind. If you had a guy blow a pit stop, or if you have pit stop strategy twice as opposed to once, I understand why they did that. I don't like it. I don't think forcing teams to make pit stops just to make it more even is the right answer.
Well, they're hearing all the rumbles. People are over it and ready to get this race off of
Right.
the schedule because it's like you said, just watch qualifying.
Yeah, qualifying is Saturday the 24th at 7 a.m. in case you want to watch. And if you want to watch practice, which I'll be honest, I never do.
I watch them occasionally, but it's very rare.
Practice Saturday morning, free practice 3 at 3:30 a.m. if you're up. Just saying, it's right there.
Ugh.
Yeah, I wouldn't be watching it, but anyway, Monaco is a steeped in tradition. The course is to me it would be a great course if you had more passing opportunities. It would be perfect because it's a road course. It goes to the middle of town. It's got some great turns. It's got some interesting things that happen. You go by the marina. You go by the hotel on the big old hairpin turn. I like it. I just wish it was not the first person, to get out in front and not crash wins. Because that's the way it is pretty much every year. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I haven't been a fan of Monaco for a couple of years. It has gotten stale, but I mean, I like that they're with the pit stop rule. I like that they're trying to do something. Like, let's not just get rid of this race. Let's see if there's a way that this works.
Right.
So,
All right.
yeah,
So
but we'll see.
we'll talk more about F1 next weekend. Or next week. Let's talk about the NBA. Currently, Western Conference Finals are underway. Timberwolves and Thunder have combined for not many points in the first 12, 13 and a half minutes. It is 24-20 Timberwolves in game 1. Do you
You're a little behind. It's 48-44.
Whoa. Well, how did I get I got to refresh it. That's why.
Gotta refresh the page, and it just
I've had it open forever.
But still not many points. I mean,
yeah, it's a low scoring.
The
game.
Wolves are on pace for 96, and yeah,
Let me
it's
see
not
if
great.
Let me see if it refreshes. Sorry, this is when I opened it, but it hasn't refreshed on its own, which it normally does. Yeah. So 48-44 at the half. Look at that. And then and Hartenstein has the most points for the Thunder, 10. Timberwolves have been surprising to me. I kind of thought they would beat the Lakers. Just because when you get to this point in the season, I understand, but I understand that they have Luka and LeBron, but LeBron is not getting any younger. He is going to not be as effective this late in the season as you would think he would be. Not as it has been in the past.
But saying that implies like traditional wisdom, like the league does't have his back.
Well,
I don't think that LeBron will ever lose naturally. I'm starting to believe it. Like, because it's happened now 4 years in a row.
Yeah.
He hasn't made it out of the first round or second round 4 years in a row. So I'm starting to believe it. But the league has altered things for so long to fit him that I'm always like, nah, they'll take him to the finals.
Here's my issue that the Lakers did. the Lakers traded away the one guy who could have helped them beat the Timberwolves, and got Luka Doncic.
I mean, he could have helped them beat the Timberwolves, but so could Luka.
I don't think so. Luka can't defend against any of those big guys. He won't defend. He's not a defender.
But he can score 20 more points a game.
I get it, but to be honest, if you the way to win that series would have been for them to keep it low scoring and keep it close. And with defense, block shots, that would have been the way. Not to try and outscore him, because what happens if you're off? What happens if you're not there? Then
I
what?
get what you're saying.
Yeah, defense is always on. Offense is not always on. So to me, anyway, I think your defense is always there, because guess what? I can do the same things. I can still get to shots. I can still affect the other player. Offensively, I have to be able to hit my shots. If my shots aren't going in, we're in trouble. You know, that's just kind of how offense works. If you keep it low scoring, you have a chance no matter what, because they're not too far ahead of you. This game here, for example, Timberwolves Thunder 48-44. That's a low scoring game in the NBA now. And the Thunder, even though they're down 4, have a great chance still, because the game is low. They didn't let Timberwolves score 70 in the first half. That's how you lose basketball games. You let another team score 60 or 70 points in a half. That's how you lose. And that's how you get blown out. Anyway.
I get what you're saying. I just don't. Okay, so you play Anthony Davis. You put the emphasis on defense. You try and keep it low scoring. But that's not entirely up to you.
It's true. It's true.
But you give up scoring, because Luka averages 30.9, 30 something points a game in the playoffs, whereas Anthony Davis.
So hold on.
Also, we're talking about injury-prone Anthony Davis.
It's true.
Let's say you don't make that trade, because Anthony Davis immediately got hurt with Dallas. So let's say you don't make that trade, and then you don't have Anthony Davis in the playoffs because he's hurt. Like, is that a chance you want to take?
So,
like, Anthony Davis has gotten hurt every single year.
Agreed. Agreed, and you're right. But my point is, how many more points a game does Luka score than Anthony Davis? 14, 10, 12? What is it? Right? I
don't know. Yeah, so my guess is it's probably like 10 to 15.
Okay,
like
so let's say it's 15, just for example. Right? So in a half, it's 7.5 points. He scores 7.5 more points in a half. If your defense can keep the other team from scoring 6 points, it's a 1.5 point gain. You see what I'm saying? But yeah. Luka's not going to keep them from scoring 6 points. Luka's not going to help you defensively at all. He's only going to help you offensively. Anthony Davis can do both if he's healthy. Agreed. I'm agreeing.
He's healthy,
you.
Yeah.
But he can help you limit the other team and score points. That's what you need in the playoffs. You can't just rely on, we're going to score 170 points because Luka's going to score 40 and LeBron's going to score 30, and that's not going to be the case. And that you saw that against Minnesota. They weren't there. They couldn't stop Gobert. Well, if you'd had Anthony Davis, you might have had a chance.
Might have, yeah.
Yeah, because your team is not nearly as big as it was when you traded him away and got Luka.
It's tough to say. Anthony Davis is not a physical center.
Agreed.
Right? He doesn't play big centers.
He does block shots.
He can block shots. Guess where he gets most of his block shots? Out at the perimeter on guards on switches. Like, that's his big thing, is blocking shots at the mid-range and 3.
Sure.
Because everyone switches him onto them.
Wait, you block Luka's shot.
He doesn't play, what's it called? He doesn't play defense on large physical centers. Well, that is a bad matchup for him. Rudy Gobert is still going to eat on Anthony Davis. Maybe not as much, but he's still going to. And what's worse, Anthony Davis is now going to lose 15 points a game going up against Rudy Gobert, trying to get inside. The one thing you do have on him, though, would be that Rudy Gobert doesn't come out of the paint. So you can just take threes all day if that's your one-on-one matchup. But they wouldn't do that. They would assign somebody else to guard him. Who's their other big guy on Minnesota?
They have another big guy?
They did.
I mean,
Minnesota.
I don't know. I'm looking at the lineup right now. Julius Randle, Jaden McDaniels.
Julius Randle.
Yeah, Julius Randle. He's got 20
Randle
points right now.
Julius Randle is who would be assigned to guard Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
On the defensive end, out at the perimeter.
Right.
And so now Anthony Davis not only has to go through one center. I mean, technically, what's his name isn't a center, but
That being said, who does Rudy Gobert guard now because he's going to have a mismatch. Whoever is on him can go out. You know what I'm saying? Pull him out of the middle. That's what I'm getting
Let's
at.
let's find out. Hold on. Who
Yeah.
else? Who else was there? Other they used what's his name? Oh Jesus Christ, Rui Hachimura is one of
Yeah,
their other
Hachimura.
centers that they use all the time.
He's a forward.
Sure.
Yeah.
Jackson Hayes is another person they use at center.
Yeah.
Jared Vanderbilt is a person they use at center.
Yeah.
Jordan, I don't know Jordan Goodwin. I don't really know who that is. Yeah, those are the guys that you use at center. So you would use Rui, Jackson, Jared Vanderbilt, and what's the name? And all of them are Julius Randle's size or smaller.
Yeah.
So, but the problem is Jared Vanderbilt can't shoot the three. Jackson Hayes can't shoot the three.
Yeah.
Rui Hachimura could, so maybe that's your move as you play Hachimura and Anthony. What I'm getting at here is that to say de facto Anthony Davis would have helped them more than Luka helped him, I think is entirely unknown. What we know about Anthony Davis is he shrinks in the playoffs, he gets hurt late in seasons. What we know about Luka is he's big in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean he always wins, but he's big in the playoffs and he seems to be injury resistant. Offensively, yeah.
Offensively.
So if you're going to trade, but that's my point here. If you're going to trade away one thing for the other thing, you're not getting anything.
My point is, if you're going to trade away defense for offense, which you did, that's exactly what you did. You traded away defense for offense.
Yeah, and then you proceeded to win 15 of 20 games down the stretch.
Agreed, and then get run out of the playoffs by the Timberwolves.
Understood, but it helped you. It helped you in the.
Did it? I thought you were trying to win a title.
Season. Okay, you know what? So are they.
Well, I get it, but what I'm saying is LA's trying to win a title. The whole reason you make that trade is to win a title, and if you get swept out of the first round, or not swept, but if you get run out of the first round by the Timberwolves, then you didn't do anything. You got nothing for that trade. Zero. You zero value if you get swept out the way you got swept out last year.
It's not accurate. You can't say they got nothing for it. They jumped up in points per game. They had a better regular season record at the end of the year
than they
were going to have. They definitely improved, and they did it all on a grand total of like 28 games together.
I got it.
They didn't have a ton of time to be together. Anthony Davis had 4 years to find his way to gel and stay healthy with LeBron, and he couldn't do it. Time to bring in another angle. It's a shooter's league. Why wouldn't you want shooters?
Okay. Last year, they lost 4 out of 5 to Denver. This year, they lost 4 out of...
round?
No, first round. They got run out of the first round. This year, you got run out of the first round in 5 games by Minnesota. What did you gain? What did you actually gain? You won more games in the regular season. That means nothing.
You can't possibly be convinced. You can't possibly be convinced because you're just looking at the basic stats, the simple numbers.
In 23,
this for this. No, you traded. You didn't just trade. Defense for offense. You get Luka for 68 games a season, whereas you're getting Anthony Davis for 48.
I got it.
You get 20 extra games of production. If you bounce out of the first round of the playoffs, sure, it doesn't matter. Why do anything? Just blow up the team and kill everyone because you're not doing anything, right? But no, it could help for next year.
Sure, and it could, but I don't think you make that trade for next year. You're not making that trade for next year. You're making that trade for now because LeBron's not getting any younger and he's not going to be any better next year.
Well, okay. 2 things can be true. You can make this trade because Luka is the future face of your organization.
Maybe.
No, stop it. Shut up. 1,000%. Luka will be the face of the Lakers when LeBron retires.
Well, he has to be. He's all they got now.
It doesn't matter. Period. He will be the face. So you're making a business decision for the future. Yeah. But also, you can make a decision for now to go in a different direction. Think about this, too. They have a new coach. Their coach didn't pick Anthony Davis.
I get it.
So Anthony Davis is a product of some other person's regime.
Agreed.
LeBron
James is a product of someone else's regime.
It's true. LeBron James is honestly the problem. I think I read somewhere that we're arguing like it's Luka versus Anthony. No, it's LeBron. LeBron's the issue.
He needs to go.
LeBron's like a minus 15 in the playoffs the last 3 or 4 years.
He needs to go.
Yeah, he's just overstayed his welcome. I was telling Austin this the other day. It was like if he is only hurting his legacy at this point.
He's a good player. He's still a good player. He's
He's
just
still
not
very
LeBron.
valuable.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine him coming off the bench for some team. He gets all the rest he wants,
Yeah.
and he could still play 25 minutes a game and give maximum effort for 25 instead of a half-assed effort for 40.
So last year against the Nuggets, I'm just saying this as more argument fodder. Anthony Davis here, right? Led the team in points and rebounds
Yeah. He had
in
a
the first
fantastic.
3 games and led
Yeah.
them in rebounds all 5 games.
And what did it get you? Nothing.
It got you nothing.
More
The same
than this year.
but
Exactly.
it's the same thing that Luka gave you.
Congrats.
Which is nothing.
You had defense instead of offense last year. Didn't do jack shit for you. You had offense instead of defense this year. Didn't do jack shit for you. Sounds
Right.
like the problem isn't those two guys.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But that's
Problem
not
is
that wasn't
they
my
have
point.
Jared Vanderbilt and Rui Hachimura are their next best players. Austin
yeah.
Reeves is
Yeah.
their next best player.
That's my issue is
You have no depth.
You're paying these 2 guys, whether it be Davis and James or whether it be Doncic and James. You're paying these 2 guys so much money, you can't afford anything else. There's nothing else on that team. I mean, okay, they have some players, but Hachimura is a good player.
Yeah.
He's not that caliber. You don't have that third guy. It takes 3 guys to win a championship. You need 3. 2 won't
Who's the
quite.
best team in the NBA right now? I'm not going to say I'm not going to say OKC because it's a lot of young contracts.
Who's the best team? Or who's
the best
I don't know,
the best put together team. What I'm trying to get at here is that you're talking about good contract setups that don't bankrupt your team in favor of a few guys. LeBron James is next year is set to be paid $52 million. Luka Doncic is 45. Their next highest person is Rui at 18.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, are there any other teams that have contract situations that are where the team is better? Actually, not Boston. Boston would be a great example.
Boston.
Because they have a lot of top tier talent. And I'm curious to know what they're paying people.
And yet they got run out by the Knicks.
Oh my God. Their contracts are $53 million by Jalen, 54 for Jason, 32 for Drew, 30 for Kristaps, 28 for Derek White.
Right.
They have a lot of money.
Not to mention what they're going to have to pay the 6th man of the year.
What is Peyton Pritchard?
I don't know what he gets. He doesn't make much. He's going to make more next year.
He's not. He's under contract through 2028.
Eventually. He'll renegotiate at some point.
Well, yeah, they might, but I wouldn't. He's not going to renegotiate with 3 years
left.
Here's
here's my example. Okay, so let's back up. All right, let's look at the Lakers versus Minnesota. These 5 games. You looking at them on the screen? Oh, I didn't share the screen with you. You can't see a damn thing.
But I am looking at it. LAL versus Minnesota. I'm on the basketball reference page. Yeah.
You see the 5 games they played this year, right? In the playoffs.
Yeah.
Okay. Which one did they win?
I get what you're getting at. The lowest scoring.
Lowest scoring game. They kept the other team down, and they won the game. Every other game, they gave up at least 103 points. 18 more than the game they won. So that's my whole point is defense will win a title because it keeps you close. It doesn't let the other team just score. You have to outscore the other team if you're going to not have defense, right? You got to look at that. They would have had to score, 118, 117, 117, 104 in those 4 games to win those games. And they don't have that kind of offense. They've got 2 guys who can score 60, but where's the rest of it going to come from? That's my whole point. If you keep the other team from scoring, you will definitely have a chance to win. Even if your guys only contribute 6 or 7 points each, you're going to be in there. You're going to be at least close. But anyway, I could be wrong. I've been wrong before once.
The problem is you can't take a single event.
Let's look at last year
and think that that's going to do it because that's a great example. Look at last year because last year they only won 1 game in their playoff series.
Agreed.
And I think the Nuggets were a lot better last year too.
The Nuggets were a lot better last year.
Yeah,
that's a tough round. But my point is, I guess the season before 22-23, they go to the conference finals. Yeah, they got swept out by Denver. But they beat Golden State. They beat Memphis. They won series because they were in those games. And I don't know. This was actually a higher scoring than I thought it would be. The Memphis and the Golden State series.
Yeah.
But they could not outscore. Even they scored over 100 every game. They still lost in 4 in the finals to Denver. But man, Denver was good.
I just don't think I don't think in this. If you look around this league, what's the argument, right? Everyone shoots threes.
Everyone shoots
So why
threes.
wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you go out and be
I
a 3-point shooter?
I get it, and I
Not
get
many teams are going to construct a defensive powerhouse because even if you do, Steph Curry is still going to shimmy his shoulders and throw one up from half court and make it. So congratulations
so,
on your six. You have 5 people on the court and they're all 7 feet tall, swatters and rebounders. Doesn't make
Steph.
a damn bit of difference because shooting nowadays overcomes size.
All right, we'll put a pin.
It's tough.
We'll put a pin in this discussion. Oh, it was a good
After
one.
next year, well, and this is assuming they don't add any more pieces, but after next year, if they're still floundering like this and they're not able to get out of the first round, and it doesn't really matter what they do, you definitely are able to look at it and go, it's a LeBron issue.
It's LeBron.
He needs to get off the team.
Yeah, agreed. He needs to just retire.
He had his year with his son.
Everything's great.
Are we good now?
Yeah, I would think, but
but Bryce James will be in the league now and Bryce James, by the way, Bryce James will be good.
Yeah,
he's not going to be LeBron good, but he is NBA
better.
good.
Yeah, better than.
Where's he going to play? College. I think it's Arizona.
Yeah,
he's playing at Arizona. He's a 6'4" shooting guard. He's a 3-star recruit.
If you look at the Wolves Thunder right now, it's 48. Still, it's 48-47. Timberwolves were a minute and a half into the third quarter. SGA is 2 of 13 from the floor, and they're still a 1-point game.
Which, by the way, how come they haven't announced the MVP?
I don't. When do they normally do that?
There's no set time for it, but typically it's after the first round.
Well, we want to make sure.
I think the league was waiting to see if Jokic was going to upset SGA because I don't think the votes actually mattered. It's like,
really, you think it was just a head-to-head thing?
I think when you got down to these final two, if it was a runaway, let's say Jokic didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah,
I think you can just give it to SGA. But once Jokic did make the playoffs, and once those two were bracketed to play each other, if they made it to the second round, you kind of went. I think if the Denver would have lost in the first round, they would have announced it after the first round. But once they made it, Adam Silver stepped in and said, "This is an opportunity for controversy. If we don't announce the MVP, we can get clicks, we can get arguments.
Right?
Like, why not?
Right?
Like, I do not believe the league MVP is very often accurate."
Agreed.
So I think since Adam Silver got there, he's pulling a lot of strings.
It's 50-49 Timberwolves. Wednesday, tomorrow night, Pacers-Knicks. I'm looking forward to the Pacers-Knicks series.
So am I.
I like this series. I think it's 5 p.m. on Pacific time on TNT, or Max if you want to watch it on HBO. New York's a 4.5-point favorite playing at home in game one. These two teams are separated by 1 game in the regular season. But the Pacers, I think the Pacers are playing better basketball. I'm not 100% certain that they're, because the Knicks were the beneficiary, let's be fair, of an injury too in that series. But the Knicks were playing well against the Celtics to begin with. But I think the Pacers are a better basketball team. Is that fair?
I think it's. I don't even know if I believe that. I don't. I think the Knicks are a better team. I think the Pacers have a really, really, really good squad, but I think that the high points on the Knicks are higher than anything. Like, I think Mikal Bridges can lock up Tyrese Halliburton. Like, you're never going to stop him from scoring 20 points a game, but
right.
I think he can hold him down for sure. But I think that there's not a lot of people on the Pacers that can lock up Jalen Brunson. I mean, Jaylen Brown is one of the best defenders in the East. He couldn't handle Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, I'm just personally, I'm not a big fan of Jalen Brunson. I don't like his game necessarily. I think he's the beneficiary of a lot of offensive fouls that don't get called. He makes a lot of contact, initiates a lot of contact when I watch him play, and then acts like he's a soccer player. Initiates a lot of contact, and then when he gets touched, he acts like he's been fouled every time. That I don't like that. It's just personal opinion. But he's a good player. I feel like he could be better if he didn't, kind of act out the way he kind of acts out. Good player. Don't get me wrong.
On this postseason, he's 6th in terms of free throws. So hold on, let's see here. Free throws attempted per game. Oh wait, hold on. No, he's not. He's
not.
Oh no, he's 6th. Yeah, sorry. Weird. It separated it, but it didn't. Yeah, he's 6th behind Giannis, Donovan, Luka, Shea, Paolo, LeBron.
Right.
He's 1 ahead of Jimmy Butler, 2 ahead of Jokic. Yeah, he's around there. Miles Turner is the highest one for the Pacers, who averages 4.6. But it's Jalen Brunson through the playoffs is averaging 7.3. I think your plus side though is that he handles the ball
He does.
every time
He
up.
leads the team in assists, and I get that.
Yeah.
And
Giannis averaged 12.6 free throws per game.
And I'm not saying he's not a great distributor and a good defender, but offensively, I think he's the beneficiary of a lot of things. 39 minutes, right, is a lot to play in every game so far in the playoffs. He's played, his average is 39
He's averaging
minutes.
39.
Yeah.
28.8 points a game.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty good with only
good. But
6.5 made free throws per game, which means your natural average is 22.4.
Right.
Versus someone like Giannis, who is averaging 33, but with I guess he only made 8 a game.
So his regular season average is 26 points, right?
Yeah.
And it's 28.8, but he's also playing an extra 4 minutes every game, right? His field goal percentage is down. His three-point percentage is down. His free throw percentage is down. His assists are up. The other things are up because obviously I think that's because the other things are down. He realizes he's not shooting as well. So he passes the ball and he's getting more assists, but it's minimal. So I don't know. I feel like
it's tough.
Yeah, it's one of those things where he's getting 2.8 points per game more in the playoffs, but also playing 4 minutes more, probably about the same average than per minute is what I'm getting at. So,
another thing to consider is the Celtics were losing a lot of these games. Right.
Yeah.
So they lost. So now you're fouling late in games.
Right.
And if they can get it into their guard,
right.
And then to take the foul, they will. So I always have a slight hard time with, all right, so you average how many free throws per game? How many of those are in the final on minutes, especially when you're talking about a series that you won 4-1?
Yeah, he averaged about almost seven free throws.
Yeah.
In what, 6 games?
He's interesting. I'm not a big fan of his game. He reminds me of like Trae Young style play and things like that. It's not as big on drawing fouls because he makes strong drives to the hoop that he tries to finish. He's also tiny. And
when he's on, I mean, this is being an example here. You're looking at the postseason games against the Celtics. In the last game 6, 57% field goal percentage, right? And he scores 23 points and they win. They win easily. In game 5, 56% field goal percentage, right? 39 points. They win easily. The other games didn't win as easily, and they lost 2 of those games, and that's when he's off. When he's off, they're not nearly as good. That's what I'm getting at. He doesn't look. He played 2 games great, 1 game kind of and the other 3 were not so good in my opinion. He 9 of 23, 6 of 19, 7 of 17. Those are not great games in terms of field goal percentage. And you might get to the line on some of those, but when you go to the line, that doesn't count as a field goal attempt if you get fouled. So those don't even count. His free throw percentage is 82% for the thing, but 75% this game, 77%. You know what I mean? You got to make free throws. Missing 2 every game is I don't know.
It's missing 2 every game is common in the league.
It's true. It's true. But when you're going to be
you're right there in the window.
But when you're the point guard on a team that's trying to win a championship, you need to be an 85 or higher percent free throws. That's my personal opinion. Steph Curry doesn't miss that many free throws. He misses a few. But I mean, you need to be up there. He
missed more in the last 2 years than he did in like the 6 years before that or something like that. It's like a crazy amount.
Yeah. Anyway,
I get what you're saying. But it doesn't matter. He did win.
They did win.
Like Boston was the de facto team to beat out of the East. I don't care what Cleveland's record was. Didn't matter.
But fair, you also got an injury that helped you win.
But that was only for
game.
One game.
Game
that game
6
was already done.
Okay, all right. I'm just saying. Anyway,
when the injury occurred, that game was done already.
The game, did it happen in game 6? I thought he got hurt in game 5.
No, yes, but I'm talking about that game.
Yeah,
game
Boston had already won the game.
No, Boston lost the game.
Boston won the game, 127-102. Game
Boston
5.
won the game that he got
Yes,
hurt in.
correct. And then they won, and then New York won Game 6, 119-81. Yeah, because there was no. Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Is that Boston had already locked up that game, but he got hurt. They were winning that game easily, and then New York was gifted Game 6 because
Tatum got hurt in Game 4.
Game 4, okay, which the Knicks
would have
won.
been the Knicks won. Okay, yes, that's what I was saying.
But
that game was done. I knew I was remembering it. I just didn't know which game it was.
Okay.
That because it was a steal that they were trying to run out that was going to put them up by like 8.
Right.
With like under a minute left or under 2 minutes left or something like that.
And then immediately lost Game 5 by 25 points. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jeez,
wow. Yeah. Without a player, and that was other players stepping up.
They gave it back to them.
But eventually, it's a 38-point win in Game 6, and they win going away because, when you're without your star player, let's be fair, that's tough, right? In the playoffs.
I mean,
you can only win for so long. You can only go so long without the guy. So anyway, I don't know. Jalen Brunson, great player. In terms of the NBA, I'm not a big fan of the way he plays. I just don't like it. I've watched him play for a number of games, and I'm not a huge fan of his. Not saying that he's not. He fits the Knicks. That's what they do, and I just don't. I don't know.
That's what I get it. You don't have to, if you can't put an actual something on it. Like your thing is like, well, I think he gets to the line much. Well, he doesn't get to the line much more than anybody else. Like he's definitely in the top 10 in the league, but it's not crazy compared to some of these other guys.
No,
but
agreed.
There's something about his game you just can't put.
I just can't put my finger on
that you don't like.
Yeah,
I have noticed that you do not tend to like small attacking guards. I think there's a recurring trend with you not being a huge fan of guards who drive the paint.
That could be.
Which is all Brunson does. I mean, he does shoot the 3, but he really makes his money off of attacking the paint and either scoring or distributing from the middle of the thing. So I don't know. I agree with you. I'm making all of these arguments to say I agree. I'm not a huge fan of his game, but that's because I prefer a pure shooter.
Right.
Not that I dislike his game. I like a pure shooter at guard. He's not a pure shooter. I'm not a big fan of him. So I feel like he's a smaller version of Josh Hart.
Okay.
Except not as good on defense. But he's pretty good on defense, but not as good.
Let's talk about the Portland Trailblazers who are for sale.
Please do.
Yeah. The Portland Trailblazers are for sale by the Paul Allen Trust, Paul Allen Estate. And the reason that they're for sale is Paul Allen's wishes were that he sold all of his sports holdings and donated the money to charity or philanthropy. That's basically what the reason why they're doing that. Which I get. So that's the reason why the Blazers are up for sale. I don't, Phil Knight was a candidate, I guess, at one point in time. He expressed interest in buying them, but not now.
Apparently, he made a full-on offer. Like it was like a year after Paul Allen died, he made a full-on offer, and Jody Allen turned it down. Right,
but he's not necessarily there now. And then the Blazers are estimated to be worth about $3.6 billion.
I don't understand how a team that loses that much can be worth that much money.
Yeah, so some of those, like the Celtics, must be worth $50 billion, right? Because they're way better than Portland. I don't know how that works all, but it is what it is. Yeah. I don't know. I don't have enough money, but I would love to. I would love to own a team. And my problem is if I own the team, I'd also want to be the manager, right? And then you're encroaching on Jerry Jones territory, and I don't want to be that guy. So,
also, I think you would be a great owner. I don't think I'd want you as a manager.
Yeah,
you're too emotional with people. Like you wouldn't bring in a player that you dislike
that I don't
no matter how good he would be for the team.
Agreed.
So and that's a decision you'd have to put aside sometimes.
I agree with that.
You wouldn't bring in Jalen Brunson because there's something about him that you couldn't put your finger on.
Agreed.
That sort of thing. But as an owner, I think you'd be fantastic. I think they should sell it to the city. Let's have the first publicly owned NBA team just like the Packers.
The Packers. I agree with that. I think it'd be great.
Although the city of Portland's a hot mess. So.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that. But yeah, that'd be interesting. I agree with you. That'd be cool.
They should have sold it to Phil 4 years ago.
Oh, right. He'd be a good owner.
They should have sold it to him. I mean, the guy bleeds Oregon, and
right.
he's all encompassed like the best type of, like, if he could own the University of Oregon, he probably would have by now, and he would dump massive resources into it, as he already does.
Agreed.
Like, he would be the kind of owner that most people would want. So I think the best owner in the NBA is, what's his name? Clippers.
Really?
Oh, what is his name? What is the Ballmer?
Yeah, bomber.
Ballmer. He's
Yeah.
the best. He gives the team a ton of, what's it called? A ton of stuff. He sits with the fans. He doesn't sit on the side. He sits on the ends.
Yeah.
And he's always active and engaged and into games, and he signs autographs, and like, he just seems like he's having a good time, just not some stuck up businessman sitting in a box.
All right.
I like him.
We got very little time, and we're going to talk about a few things. Panthers are beating the Hurricanes 3-1 in Game 1 in Carolina. That's on TNT if you want to tune in to the last 15 minutes. There's 15 and a half minutes left. Panthers were up 2-0. Carolina scored a goal, and then immediately Florida scored the answer and made it up 3-1. Florida or Tampa has been in the Stanley Cup Finals each of the last 5 years. So if you're betting against the Panthers, don't. So that's all I'm saying. Just don't do that. Anyway, that Carolina is the home team because they have the better record. But there's that. Tomorrow night, Oilers Stars. Really want to watch this series. I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to watch it all, but 5 p.m. on ESPN or ESPN Plus. I think this is going to be a great series to watch.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too. Ottinger, the goalie for Dallas, says that Leon Draisaitl or Connor McDavid will go down as the best player of all time.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, he said that. And there's a clip you can watch, and I'm like, maybe. I mean, he's pretty damn good. So I don't know.
I mean, he has to win a title.
Well, okay. Yeah, I mean,
so
that.
he does. Like, I don't think you can ever be the best of all time in any sport if you never even achieved the ultimate goal. But he is a forced, what's it called? He's definitely an all-star. He's definitely a Hall of Famer. He's won the Art Ross Trophy God knows how many times.
Right.
But yeah, I just think he needs a title, and then he needs to keep going for another 20 years. I mean, because he's saying this in Ovechkin, who has 3 titles.
Well,
just broke Wayne Gretzky's scoring record.
I think what you're seeing, I mean, Connor McDavid is not going to break the scoring record. He's a 30 to 40 points or goals per year guy. He's not a 50 goal guy, right? But also 70-ish to 80-ish assists a year. So the example being 22-23 Connor McDavid, 153 points. Holy moly. I mean, are you kidding me? And he's scored over 108 of the last 9 years, and the year he missed was 97. Oh my gosh. But he only played in 64 games. He was, there were some injuries there, 64, 56. In 56 games, he scored 105 points in 2021 in the COVID year. 56 games. I'm going to let that sink in. 56 games, not the 82. He scored 105 points, 33 goals and 72 assists. Holy cow.
It's a little less than a goal and an assist a game.
Holy cow. If you're a point a game guy in the NHL, you're a great player. But 2 points a game puts you in a different level. Anyway, yeah, he's a good player. I would not surprise me, but he has played 11 years, right? 9-10 years. It would not surprise me if he went down as one of the best players of all time. The best, you're right. They're probably they'll hold that against him. That if he doesn't win a title, they'll hold that against him. I know they will.
I would. Like,
why?
It's unless you, again, if you don't have a title, I've said this before, you can still be great without a title, but your stats have to be so unbelievably remarkable. Right now, he's sitting at 1,082 points in his career. That puts him at 71st of all time.
Yeah.
So he has a lot of time to go.
Sure. Before
he catches up to, I mean, if he puts himself in the top 10, he needs 1,600. So he still needs, 600 more points to get into the top 10 in points, because we know he's not going to do it in goals like we talked about a second ago.
Right. But what I was going to say was, let's say over the next 6 years, that'll put him 16 years in. He still scores 100 points a game, or averages 100 points a game. That's going to put him at almost 1,700 points.
Yeah.
In 16 seasons. He'll be right there amongst the people that are the best. And If he does more than that, I mean, that's just right at 100. His average is higher than that over the last 8-9 years. It's higher
Yeah.
than 100.
But
So
but still means he has to play at least
he
6 more years.
he does. He has to play at least 6 more
That's
years.
that's a long time
Yeah,
for. I mean, how
agreed.
many years does he already have?
10.
He's got 10 years.
This is his 10th year.
16 years. How
Yeah.
many years did Ovechkin play?
Great question. I don't know that. Let's go look for
Years
Ovi.
played.
Right?
He's played 20 years.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's been around a couple seasons, right?
So you're starting to get up there in Ovechkin territory.
Ovechkin. Let's look at Ovi, right? He started in 05-06. He's only broken 100 points 4 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a goal scorer. 50 goals, 20 assists. 51 goals, 38 assists. He doesn't break 100 points. He's not Wayne Gretzky, Mark Messier. He's Alex Ovechkin. He's the leading goal scorer in NHL history. I get it, but that's what he does. He does not pass the puck. He is not that guy. You're not going to get that kind of season. Now, he would have had more. He had a couple injury seasons too. He would have had some more points in there, some more goals. But I feel like you're looking at a goal scorer versus a complete player offensively, and that's the difference. What you're seeing. But yeah, Ovi's got 1,600 points in his
Ovi's
career.
Got 1,600 points.
But
Jesus.
But if, like I said, if McDavid scores 100 points a season for the next 6 seasons, he'll have almost 1,700 points in 4 less years. That's my point. He could totally pass Ovechkin in terms of points easily. He's going to pass him probably, but where's he going to land on the overall points forever? I don't know. And how do you compare two guys? Do you compare a guy who scores 50 goals a season versus somebody who scores 30 goals but also gives you 80 assists? How do you compare those two? Value-wise? I love the fact that Ovechkin has only played for one team for 20 years.
That is cool.
That is, you just don't see
Sidney
that.
Crosby's the same
Sidney
way.
Crosby,
think,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, the hockey guys tend to do it
Sidney
more.
Crosby's 9th all-time on
Yeah.
What's it called? Points list. I don't know. Sidney Crosby has a good argument for being the greatest of all time because he's got 3 or 4 titles.
He does. Yeah, he does.
A 3-time Cup winner, 2-time Ross winner, 3-time Pearson winner. Like he's got a lot. I mean, it's not that I think that Connor McDavid can't. It's just that he has a lot of time left, a long way to go.
Yeah.
So, because he has to start getting up into those top 10s in assists and points and goals and things like that. Or even close to him. If he starts getting close to him and he still doesn't have a title, then he was always just a great hockey player, but he could, in the narrative will be, he could never get the big one. So I don't know. I think you have to win. I mean, wait, hold on. That's a better question. Is there a person in the top 10 all-time points that doesn't have a title? Wayne Gretzky, title. Yager, title. Messier, title. Howe, title. Francis, title. Dion. Ooh, Marcel Dion. Does he have a title?
Probably.
Does not.
He does not. So there you go.
He does not have a title. So here's your case, but he's at 1,771 points, 6 all time. Zerman does. Lemieux does. Crosby does. Sakic does. Ovechkin does. Esposito does. Bork does. Thornton does. Yeah. So yeah, you start moving down this list, and most of the people.
Oh, damn it! Really?
David averages 100 points a game for the next 7 years.
Yeah.
He could easily be in this conversation.
Yeah,
easily. Even without a title. But a title puts him in the conversation even before he gets to the points.
Yeah, well, it's true.
It's
it's interesting. I mean, Sidney Crosby, by the way, had 110 penalty minutes in his rookie season.
Really?
Yeah, right. 102 points, but 110 penalty minutes. That's a lot compared to the rest of his career. Once he got through about 5 or 6 years, he's way down there in terms of penalty minutes per season, like 30 or 40. But what is going on? See, okay, so now we're missing things. My internet probably crapped out on me again. It's trying to get me back onto this particular call, but I don't know if it will. Anyway, golly, Microsoft Teams, thanks a lot, man. We really appreciate you. It is what it is. We're going to try and get Parker back here real quick. See if I can call him. I don't know. Yeah, I got no internet, so. All right. Well, we want to thank you for listening this week. We'll talk more next week. We're going to talk about the NFL. We're going to talk about a few more things. And we'll cover a lot more ground than we can this week. We're going to try and figure out our Microsoft issues. And anyway, I want to thank you for listening. This has been a Brain Rock production of Division of Lone Tree Media, and we'll see you next week.